Picture this. It's 10:47 p.m. The kids are finally asleep, the dishes are done, and you sit down on the couch and catch your reflection in the dark TV screen before you turn it on. Just for a second, something hits you. Not a dramatic moment, not a breakdown, just this quiet, uncomfortable thought that you brush off because you're too tired to deal with it tonight. That was me 3 years ago, and I kept brushing it off. Week after week, month after month, until I realized the brushing it off was the whole problem. Let me ask you something. When did you stop being a guy who took care of himself and start being a guy who just manages his life? Because there's a line between those two versions of you, and most dads cross it so gradually they don't feel it happen. One day, you're fit and intentional. Then, somewhere between the school runs and the deadlines and the nights where dinner gets cold before you sit down, you started telling yourself you'd get back to it when things slow down. And things never slow down. You know that. So let's stop pretending the calendar is the problem. Here's what actually happened to me. I had this idea that getting lean meant the gym. And not just the gym, but the gym the way I used to do it. Hour-long sessions, the whole ritual, the full production. And when I couldn't do that anymore, I just did nothing. Because in my head, if I couldn't do it right, what was the point? That thinking cost me almost 2 years. I thought I was being realistic. I was just protecting myself from trying and falling short, which, honestly, took me longer than I'd like to admit to see clearly. Think about it. You're not out of shape because you're lazy. You're out of shape because you're using a system designed for a version of your life that no longer exists. This is the part nobody talks about. The fitness industry is not built for you. It's built for someone with a free morning, no carpool, no 7 a.m. call, no one pulling on their sleeve before the coffee's even done. The whole model assumes time is something you have in bulk. And when you try to force that model into your actual life, it falls apart, and then you blame yourself for not being disciplined enough. That's the trick. That's what keeps you stuck. So I stopped trying to reclaim the old system and started building one that fit inside the life I was actually living, not the one I wished I had. The shift wasn't about motivation. I had plenty of that. What changed was understanding that intensity and duration are not the same thing. Once that clicked, everything else followed. I started treating 30 minutes like it was the whole session, because when it's all you've got, it is. No more 15-minute warm-ups like I was preparing for a sporting event. Get in, work hard, get out. And here's the part that surprised me. The results were better. Not equivalent, actually better. Because I stopped going through the motions and started using the time I had on purpose. The other thing that changed was how I saw the gaps in my day. The 5 minutes before the school run. The walk from the car that I used to sleepwalk through. The 15 minutes while dinner's in the oven when I used to just scroll. None of that felt like it counted before. Now it's all part of the same picture. Do you see the shift? It's not about finding more time. It's about seeing the time you already have as something worth using. But here's the piece that took me the longest to accept. And I'll be honest, I resisted this one. The kitchen is the whole game. I know you've heard that. Stay with me. When I was training for an hour, I could outwork a bad diet. Barely, but I could. When your window drops to 30 minutes, that stops being true. The food has to be right, and for a busy dad, right means simple. Not a Sunday meal prep marathon. Not some complicated macro system. 5 meals you can actually make, rotated consistently, And you stop treating nutrition like a project that requires a free weekend before you can begin. The guy who's lean at 40 isn't doing more than you. He stopped overcomplicating it a long time ago. Let's get real. The version of you that's waiting for the right week, the right program, the right open stretch of time, that guy isn't coming back. And here's the thing, he doesn't need to. The dad you are right now, stretched thin, showing up every day, carrying more than most people see, that guy is capable of more than he's giving himself credit for. He just needs a strategy that respects the life he's actually in. You don't need to reclaim who you were before kids. That's the wrong target. The goal is becoming who you're capable of being now. And that version is honestly more interesting. Because he builds it with the odds against him, with no clean slate, no free mornings, no excuses available. He just figures it out. That's the real shift underneath all of this. Not the workouts, not the meal timing, the decision that you're someone who works with what he has instead of waiting for conditions that never arrive. The moment that actually lands for you, the logistics get a lot simpler. 30 minutes. Meals you already know how to make. Start tonight. Imperfect consistency, done over enough time, will always beat the perfect plan that's still sitting in your notes app, waiting for Monday. You've got more than you think. Use it.